But this tutorial is, in a way, not a tutorial. It's kind of aimed as a general kind of chit-chat for those that are either just starting out, who don't know what they're doing, perhaps not absolute complete beginners, but they've tried configuring OBS and they've struggled, so they're a little bit familiar with the layout of it. But for those that are competent and are intermediate or above, they're also welcome to chip in and to advise me if I'm doing something wrong. So it's kind of a two-way tutorial, this. There's quite a lot of the settings here that I don't actually tinker with. There's only a few sort of areas that I want to talk about today. And the first thing is mixer settings. And as you can see, I've got my microphone and desktop audio set to 100%. There's two ticks there because I'm using two audio tracks. Although in this particular case, I'll be deleting the desktop audio because I don't need it for this video. I'll be putting some separate music in the background. And for the actual microphone audio, I've got some filters enabled now. The noise gate is something I've only been using for the last, I don't know, maybe a month or two, but certainly the last few weeks. I think at default it was at -40, and the open threshold at default was -34. I believe there's a 6 decibel difference between the two, and although I haven't watched that many videos on OBS, currently the difference of 6 decibels seem to be what I keep hearing. So that seems to be the sort of recommended amount of difference between the two. How much substance is in that, I don't know. I'm currently working my way slightly to the left here, just testing to see whether or not, you know, the sound gets too corrupted or whether I can improve on the noise reduction. But as I say, at default it's -40 and -34. The noise gate means that I can finally, at long last, get rid of these mouse clicks and a vast majority of these keyboard sounds that were plaguing my earlier commentary videos. In fact, if I go back and watch some that are even relatively recent, I can't really listen to them for that long because it becomes a bit too painful. And the noise suppression, I think, on default is -20 decibels, I think. And again, I'm just experimenting with going a bit to the left, a bit to the right, and see basically how each video sounds, if I can improve on it, that sort of thing. Some people might say that the default of -20 is a bit too severe. I'm not really sure what to say to that. I mean, I'm fairly happy with -20 or -21, so I'm just going to keep on testing it and perhaps go up to -22 and just re-listen and just see where I can find a happy medium spot there. So that's the mixer and the filters sorted out on the main screen. The actual settings, I'm just going to concern myself today with the output, the audio and the video, because pretty much everything else I don't touch. I've got no hotkeys enabled. I never really tinker with the advanced, so a more sort of well-rounded advanced tutorial is probably what you need for those. And if anyone happens to know, then they can pop a comment in the comments section and advise everyone. So for the output, I don't stream, so ignore these settings. I might start streaming one day, but it's not something that I've really been that bothered about so far. But I understand it's, you know, good to get into, but I just haven't been bitten by the bug yet. So the recording settings I've got, as you can see, the recording path goes to my relevant solid state drive. The recording format is MP4, which is what YouTube likes, although I don't believe it's the only one you can use. I think you can use others, but I'm not too sure about that. The audio tracks, as mentioned earlier, I use two tracks, one for the desktop and one for the microphone. The encoder, because I currently use an NVIDIA GPU, I'm using the NVENC H.264. I did try recently selecting this to be turned off. I was having trouble recording a particular level in Quake, and I tried turning this off because I just couldn't work out why it wasn't working, and the performance really plummeted. So if you've got an NVIDIA GPU, I recommend you leave this on. The rescale output is my resolution. I have no idea what this means, and it's currently blank. The rate control I'm a little bit more familiar with. When I used to use Shadowplay, the only option that I think you have on Shadowplay, at least when I was using it, was variable bitrate, which is fine for the most part, but it can result in out of sync audio with the video, which is a real pain in the neck. So thankfully OBS has the option of constant bitrate, which is much more advisable to use. I have no idea what this does, and lossless, I can only assume it's going to consume a huge amount of drive space and also impact the performance greatly, so I don't use that. I'm very happy with constant bitrate, and I would advise people starting out with OBS to select this option. The bitrate, I've experimented a bit with bitrate. I've seen people recommend sort of 30,000. But I like 50,000. The particular level that I was referring to earlier on Quake that I had problems recording, it was called the Palace of Hate, and it had the word re-upload in the title. And for some reason, that particular level, I just could not get it to record. Don't ask me why, I have no idea. I was trying all different settings on here and nothing worked. So in the end, I just had to drop the bitrate right down. And in the end, 35,000 worked, which, in my opinion, if you look at that particular video, it will look worse. Not very much worse, but it is noticeable that it looks poorer visual quality compared to all the other Quake videos, which are at 50,000. So if I was going for a bitrate, a minimum bitrate, I probably would be experimenting with nothing lower than 40,000, and hopefully 45 to 50. I have tried 60,000. I think the first Stalker video in my Let's Play of Shadow of Chernobyl, that was recorded at 60,000. I don't think it made much difference really in the visual quality, but I do believe it may have impacted performance a bit more, but I'm not sure about that at the moment. So 50,000 for the most part I'm very happy with. I think the video quality is good and the performance is acceptable or even good in some instances. The keyframe interval, I have little to no idea what that is, so I've left it blank or left it at 0 because that means auto. And that's a very useful thing to remember, is that if you don't know what a setting does, just leave it alone, because you could end up really confusing yourself in the end and you know, going around in circles. So if you're not sure what something does, just leave it alone. The preset, I used to use high quality, but when I had problems with that Quake level, I was trying all sorts of other settings, and generally speaking, for the most part, I find the default absolutely fine. It doesn't really make that much difference, I found, so I left it at default in the end. The profile I've got here is high. I believe main looks fine as well. I think baseline will restrict other settings like this level here, but I think high or main for the most part is going to be what you want. I haven't tried this one, but yeah, high or main's there I think is what you're going to be looking at to start with. And as just touched on here, the level, OBS goes to as high as 5.1, which I used to select, but well, as I say, when I was trying all sorts of settings for this Quake level, in the end I just settled on auto, and I think that does make it very high anyway, so again I've left it at auto. I think when you start dropping the level down around about here, you will see a much, you know, a poorer quality of video. It starts to look blocky and pixelated. I use 2-pass encoding, which helps the image quality, sharpens things up a bit, and these values here I've left. I think the bottom value was due to a video I saw ages ago which got me started in OBS and got me over the basics like this. Unfortunately I can't link the video because I can't remember what channel it was that did it, but it was a very useful video. But I seem to recall that this chap had the B-frame set at 2, so I've left it at 2, but what it means I don't know. And the second thing that I take a look at here is the audio, naturally. I've got the bitrate set to 320 for my 2 tracks, so I recommend if your system's up to doing that, then do the same. And then clicking on the main audio tab, I've got my desktop audio device as the speakers. So you can see here you've got several to choose from: disabled, default, but naturally that's the one to choose. High definition audio speakers, the most logical one, that's my monitor. So I just leave it at that. And then the actual microphone device is the one I'm currently using, which is the ATR 2100 USB microphone. That's a dynamic microphone. When I first started doing commentary, I was using a condenser, and I have wondered since that you know, it's hindsight's a wonderful thing, but if I still was using that microphone, maybe the noise gate and the noise suppression would have sorted out all these mouse clicks and keyboard sounds, but it's a bit late in the day now, so I'm very happy with this microphone. I actually think I sound better on it than I did the last one, so go figure. Anyway, so that's that. I don't bother with enable push to mute or push to record, push to talk, I mean. And then finally on the video tab, that's my resolution. The downscale filter, I've got to the highest. I think the one below it is, I forget the name, but it's different to that one there. But I think it's 16 samples. And the one below that, I think, is the word's blurry or something in there, which probably means that it's going to be poor quality. So, you know, I tend to try the highest settings that I can whenever I use something like this, and if I can get away with it and get good performance, then, you know, why not use it? So try that. If not, drop down to 16, but you should be fine with this one. And as all my videos are these days, they're all 60 FPS, even if they don't require to be. They're all naturally just set to 60 on default. And that's pretty much it. So that's all I really tinker with. I don't have any hotkeys enabled. I don't bother with the advanced. I don't stream as yet, and the general I don't touch very much. So I just wanted to put this out there for those that haven't got, you know, the first clue really about OBS, and who just want to get up and running without too much fuss. So as always, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please click like and subscribe if you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the not too distant future in something else. I've got to do some more Stalker recording because I'm currently out of footage, so I'll be doing that next. And I've got a few other YouTube projects on the back burner, but they won't be ready for some time yet. So once again, thanks for watching, and see you shortly, hopefully. Bye for now.